handily defeat the Nashville Predators 3-2 in overtime on a great night from Darnell Nurse. Oh, what else happened? Yeah, Connor McDavid reaching 1,000 points on the night. Absolutely fantastic to be in the building and watching this game or listening to it. And we're here to break it all down on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. Hello, everybody. Tom Gazzola with you alongside Hernan, Salas, Matt Kassian, our game analyst, will be joining us in a little bit as we get set to discuss Edmonton's third straight victory and the season series sweep over the Nashville Predators, as McDavid is now at the 1,000-point plateau, also picking up point number 1,001. Of course, GCL Diesel, proud sponsor of the oil stream and providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. We highly encourage you to join the conversation. Get at us on the text line, 780-218-9999. Especially if you were in the building tonight making your way home and you witnessed history. Let us know what you thought of that moment. Were you excited? Did you have a bunch of pride in you? Or were you jumping up and down with tears of joy, maybe just smiling like a proud papa? You tell us what you felt in that moment when McDavid reached 1,000 points. Of course, get at us in the nasty chat as well. We want to hear from you on the YouTube side of things if you're watching. And of course, as always, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. We appreciate it very, very much. Hernan, Salas, let's get you in here. Nancito, it happened. They did it. Darnell Nurse, 2-point game. What else is there to talk about?
9.25.
Boom.
Boom. It was great to see Connor McDavid. First of all, let's get to the good part of the night. Well, there's a lot of good parts, but the best part of the night, I should say, fitting that Draisaitl, feeding him that puck. And it was crazy because that first shift, Tom, boom, boom, he almost had it.
So close.
And it was absolutely electric in there. But then, it was good in overtime. The quick whistle, Pickard was a little pissed off there. Wedgwood was excellent again in this game. It seems he always plays well against the Oilers. Good call there by the head coach of the Nashville, Andrew Burnett. And but they found a way. What a pass by Leon Draisaitl, man. Like, holy smokes. Just a great play, and Darnell Nurse finishes it, scores 2 goals on the night. Good for him. Takes a lot of heat. And it's fair game, but it's always good to see him, score his first 2 goals of the season. And another big win for the Oilers. That's 3 straight heading into Toronto, where they struggle mightily. But
indeed,
I said it, Tom. A win is a win and is a win, and I'm sure we're going to break down because there are some ugly moments as well in this game. Some ugly moments. We got to talk about that tying goal for Nashville. There's 2 players. I have no idea what they're doing, and I know Cass is going to break it down with us. A lot of turnovers in that third, but in the end, 2 points is 2 points. 3-game win streak is a 3-game win streak. If Mr. Connor McDavid, 4th fastest player to 1,000, it was absolutely great to see. Nice to see the whole team come on.
Yes,
and for everybody that was there and witnessed that, that's awesome, man. Good stuff.
Yeah. Let us know your thoughts, 780-218-9999. And let's get into the scoring summary. I see Cass is almost ready to go. Let's get you up to speed on what happened in this one outside of McDavid getting points number 1,000 and 1,001. Michael McCarron, the Nashville Predators, powered by their 4th line tonight, picking up a point. That's the second headline from tonight. His second goal of the year from Roman Josi on the redirection. I would love a save there, but then I looked at it a couple more times and I noticed 2 Oilers right in the eyes of Calvin Pickard. McCarron gives the Preds the lead at 8:22 on their first shot of the game. No bueno. Second period now. The Oilers, by the way, were all over the Predators in that first period. In the second period, just 2:44 in, it would be Leon Draisaitl on a 2-on-1 with Connor McDavid, slips it over to McDavid. He buries his 6th goal of the season. 1,000th point of his career. The crowd goes wild. The team piles off the bench, and they celebrate Matthias Ekholm picking up that puck. Darnell Nurse fittingly getting the secondary assist. And McDavid from Draisaitl and Nurse, etched in Oilers history and hockey history for all of time, as the Oilers get the equalizer at 2:44 on McDavid's 1,000th NHL point. Later in the period at 5:30, it's Darnell Nurse on a nice feed from Brett Kulak. Matthias Janmark, the second assist. Nurse snaps one past Wedgwood over his shoulder by his ear from a tough angle. Great shot by Nurse, recognizing Wedgwood was cheating. How's that for good goaltending, huh? Nurse, first of the season, 2-1 Oilers going into the third. And in the third period, not much happening until Cole Smith from LaRue and Lausanne at 17-12 almost spoiled the party. Again, Nashville's fourth line powering them to a single point tonight. Smith, second goal of the season at 17-12. We're off to overtime. In overtime, it would be Darnell Nurse scoring his second of the night, third point of the game. McDavid the assist, Draisaitl the other helper. Those two bookend it. Actually, those three bookend the night, getting in on the action offensively for the Oilers. 2:33 time of the goal. Oilers get the second point. That's a win, baby. Make it 3 straight for the Oil. Nurse's third point of the game. McDavid, second point of the game. Draisaitl, second point of the game. McDavid, 1,001 points. Shots on goal, 34-23 in favor of the Oilers. Face-off percentage, 52.6 to 47.4 in favor of the Preds. The power play for the Oilers, 0 for 4. Step back. PK, 2 for 2. All right.
Yeah.
That's progress. Okay. You did it. Hits 19-5 in favor of Nashville. Block shots 12-6 in favor of Edmonton. And officially 19 giveaways for the Oilers to Nashville's 21. 5 takeaways for the Preds to Edmonton's 4. 3-2 is your final in overtime. Text us your thoughts, 780-218-9999. And right before we bring Cass in, we do need to get to the turning point of the game as Edmonton picks up the victory. The turning point of the game presented by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance performance, we treat you like a pro using the same locker room approach, trusted by the best in the game. And your Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point of the game comes at the 2-minute and 44-second mark of the second period. Nurse to Draisaitl. Draisaitl 2-on-1 to McDavid. He buries it past Wedgwood, 6th of the year, 1,000th point of his career. The Oilers were absolutely dominant after that. Unfortunately, though, they couldn't score more than another goal until overtime. And McDavid's moment is your Advantage Sports Medicine turning point of the game. Hernan, Salas, yes?
Hey, Tommy.
Tell me something.
You see the 3 stars? That's not, I didn't screw up. That's what the Oilers had on the NHL.
I saw it on the broadcast,
Connor
too.
McDavid. Honorable That's mention, right. Darnell Nurse.
Oh, okay.
I threw that in there. The Oilers didn't. But
yeah, the broadcast had it. We have it. And the NHL's official game sheet has it as well. Let's welcome in our game analyst, Matt Kassian, as we break this bad boy down. Cass, a historic night in oil country as you unmute yourself. And we witnessed history. Does McDavid, I'll just jump to it, get to 2,000? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
He probably does.
Yeah.
Probably does. Hopefully
he does.
I don't know. Maybe.
That'd be
if he crushes out a couple more 120-point seasons, right? Like if he has 320-point seasons and then he slowly starts to taper, or 4 or 5, then he gets there. He's going to get there.
He's there, yeah.
Right? So I think he could. We talked about that today on the podcast too, but yeah, that's not for post-game show.
Not for post-game show. You guys talked about it on Two Guys and a Goalie. Fantastic program and show on our fine station here on EST. All right, Cass. So McDavid gets it. I know they were trying to find him. They were all over Nashville, like I said. But somehow the Preds managed to stay in it. They managed to force overtime. Let's start with the good. What did you like from the Oilers tonight?
Well, I liked the first 2 periods. I thought they played very, very well. It was good pucks to the net. it would have been nice for Skinner to score on that one backhand, to bury it, get some people off his back, and it probably closes out the game. I liked most of their 5-on-5 game. I really did. The first two periods, they controlled the game. They controlled the play. They didn't give Nashville too much in terms of opportunity. So they did some really good things 5-on-5. Loved that the penalty killed off the penalties. Corey Perry took that cross check, and I was just like, uh-oh, as I'm sure there were some people on the bench that thought the same thing.
Right.
But does a good job, doesn't give up too much. And yeah, that was good. I mean, you don't like giving them a point. I don't like, and I texted you guys it. I don't like the amount of turnovers in the third. They just started throwing the puck away.
Yeah.
They didn't quite seem to have the killer instinct towards the end of the game.
Yes.
But their first two periods were really, really solid hockey.
Cass, what are you seeing in the later stages of that third period? Because now, like, this is probably the third blown lead. You'll go back to the Vegas game. You go back to the Islanders game. And you made a good point, because in that, Stetcher had a giveaway in that third. Nurse gave one right up the middle there in the neutral ice to absolutely nobody. And what are you seeing? Why are they getting to these issues in the final 5-6 minutes where they just can't seem to make a play?
It's a good question, isn't it? I mean, they just start throwing pucks away. I mean, it's the panic button, right? You hit the panic button, and they did it. Not just those guys in the offensive zone too, when they had the puck with full possession, where there's just like, you kind of rimming it and hoping someone's there. You flip it across and you hope someone's there. Draisaitl had one too, where it was like, and I get that he was feeling it tonight. He was pretty lights out for most of the game, but in the third period, a couple of times where it's like, okay, is now the time to throw that backhand sauce that's going to go over 3 sticks to get to a guy for a tap in? Probably not. And that happened, I think, 2 times where there was 2 turnovers, and you're kind of like, oh, that's not the time to do that. And it didn't start with him, but was maybe a little bit infectious. And I think we've seen it where, I don't want to say it's nerves, guys, but it's something like it.
Yeah.
Where they just start throwing pucks away in the defensive zone. Like and Nashville ramped up the pressure. Like, they started playing better. They started pressing. They knew they were a goal away from getting a point, or, they were still in that hockey game, and they pressed. And Edmonton, they didn't crumble. It's not like they caved and completely fell apart, but they just started throwing pucks away, and just enabled Nashville to get that zone time, to get opportunity, and, a little bit of I would say a sleepy play in the offensive zone that leads to an opportunity that the puck ends up in your net.
Listen, I just want to throw this in there. I was watching that game. I'm sitting up there. I'm seeing the Oilers create some great opportunities. And I'm looking at this going, why are they only up 2-1? How come they can't bury on these chances? Some of it, to me, is they're looking off great opportunities. And Podkolzin had one early in the first period where he just passed it to nobody. I think he was expecting Corey Perry to be at the side post. You're in the slot. Please shoot it. I don't know. Like, I just, that's just one example. And I'm not trying to signal out Podkolzin. There were other examples where they had great A's and they would put it right in Wedgwood's chest, or they'd make it easy on him. And don't get me wrong, Wedgwood was on his game. But tonight was a night where I'm like, if I read that the Oilers got goalied, I'm going to like flip and throw this entire desk in my home studio over, because it's like they're self-inflicted wounds. And I think tonight's not a night where you could say, well, the Oilers got goalied. It's just too bad.
Yeah, because
it wasn't. He played well. Hernan, go ahead. Go ahead, Hernan.
No, I was just going to say, I think it was after the 2-2 goal, McDavid went in kind of all alone there. And that's probably the big save Wedgwood made, right? Because I agree with you, Tom. A lot of them were right in the crest and all that. And you're looking at this game, you're seeing the shot totals, you're seeing the kind of the imbalance between the two teams when it comes to shots. And you're like, why is this game still so close? But for me, Wedgwood, yes, he was good, Tom and Matt. Yeah. But I mean, I can probably count 2 really solid saves that he made where you'd consider him in that category of big save.
But that the one even you're talking about, though, like the McDavid 2-on-1, that wasn't a great save, because I don't think McDavid put it where he wanted.
No, that's true.
And I think Wedgwood, if you watch that, like, he was anticipating the pass. Like, he was half push. It was like a half save where, like, he was wide open. Like, it wasn't like he was closed off tracking the shot. It's like he thought he was going to pass. and his first movement was to push across and open up to try to get over, and it just happened to hit him like that on that play specifically. That being said, puck doesn't go in the net, and it was a great chance at 2-on-1. Yeah, I point more to, like, again, the Skinner backhand where you're like, dude, like, your goal scorer, and you could see the frustration after that, slapping his stick on the ice, where he should have buried that. And the Bud Colson is another example of that you guys mentioned already too, where it's like I wouldn't have been flipping desks angry, Tom, but I wouldn't have been like Wedgwood stood on his head unbelievable. Like I'd be like, well, he was okay, but Edmonton just didn't finish. They just didn't finish. Not so much that Wedgwood was great, although he was pretty good. He
made good saves.
He made some good saves. Yeah, but through the first two periods, realistically, it's like, well, if you would have bore down on some of those chances, you should have been up 2 goals at least. Had one more, and then it's a different hockey game. Cass, but at the end of the day, guys, they do find a way to get it done in OT. So let's not be grumpy pants.
Yeah, Cass, this is my last grumpy question, because they did win. It was a big night for Connor McDavid. Darnell Nurse and Leon Draisaitl, his two buddies, were excellent all the night. But the tying goal, when you look at it, what happened there? Because there's two guys at center ice. Cole Smith gets behind them on the left side of that. Emerson's kind of beat there at the blue line. He's kind of a little bit late. Can you kind of break down what happened there? Why was he so wide open?
Yeah, well, I think the Emerson is probably the main reason for that. I don't think he tracks well in the zone. They're thinking offense. It's a bouncing puck. You kind of knock it in. It comes back quicker, and he's slow to open up, right? Like that ends up being his guy. He tracks into the zone, and he just doesn't back up and get out to where he needs to be. I mean, they're thinking offense. They're thinking score. They're not thinking defense at that point. And maybe a little bit of a late recognition by Kulak and by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins that, hey, he's like at the top of the circles here, and the puck just comes back out quicker than you'd anticipate. Takes a funny bounce, and then they're scrambling. And in Nashville, and to their credit for Cole Smith, they're thinking offense. They see an opportunity to say, hey, there's a shot towards the net. The D-man's in. There's no one back there. I'm going to jump. Now, you take a risk in doing that. The puck doesn't come out. You don't get possession. Now, it's 5-on-4 in zone, but you're down in a hockey game in the third period, and you make a good read on the play. So again, you kind of pin on Emerson not sneaking in or getting too deep in at the top of the circles and then not reacting. You kind of see he takes a couple slow steps and doesn't recognize someone's behind him.
Last bitch and complaint from me on the Oilers, because we're going to focus on the positives. They did win. McDavid gets 1,000 points. I see Draisaitl's T-shirt on the broadcast. Reid, I think, with the first question in the scrum. I love it. And the EST mic back in there. That's the beauty of having on-site reporters for postgame. Now, I would love a save on that Cole Smith goal. I really would. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it. It
didn't happen. Leaks 5-hole.
Yes.
Yeah, and he goes, the read that Pickard makes on that is that he's going to try to pull it across the net. Yeah. Like he's thinking, don't get beat far side on that. Now, I don't think that there was a lane to get far side. I think you had enough help coming back, and guys were getting there to where they would have, had another step to get a stick in there to impede a little bit. But that's his thought. He just, kind of like, where Wedgwood makes a save on Connor McDavid because he's pushing across. I know there wasn't a player to pass to, but he's anticipating something else. This time, though, the puck leaks 5-hole, and you didn't love it. I didn't love it either.
Thank you. Zulu says
they won.
They did win. We're going to focus on the positive. Zulu on the nasty chat says Oilers rank in 29th shooting percentage. Finishing is an issue. I do think it'll come around. See, we're going to switch it. We're going to take a negative and turn it into a positive. I think they will come around on shooting percentage, and I think they will be able to score more than 2 to 3 goals consistently. But through 17 games, they had vaulted themselves, and I quote and unquote, air quote, vaulted themselves into 21st in the league in goals for per game. So that's a step in the right direction as the Oilers win it 3-2 in overtime against the Preds. 3 straight victories. Was it ideal? No. Was it picturesque? Yes, on McDavid's 1,000th point, and maybe on Darnell Nurse's goal too. Actually, Darnell Nurse's goals tonight were actually pretty nice. Ho Daddy texting in via our text line 780-218-9999. Ho Daddy says, great game by Nurse. When is he eligible for an extension? Oh, Daddy, good to hear from you. It's been a little while. Nathan
Tommy,
the Welder. Yes.
No, go ahead. I was gonna read the text, but you got it.
Nathan the Welder says, did Nurse just say play La Bamba, baby, after that winning some fan base after that game? That's from Nathan the Welder. Yeah, he said something like that. And then he had the head bob. I loved it. So you could tell they're feeling good. He's talking post game. He looks like he's in a good headspace. So a good night for Darnell.
It feels like it was a huge weight. Yeah, a huge weight lifted off of Darnell Nurse with a 2-goal night. Like even after that first one where he just loosened up and he played a good game, very good game from Darnell Nurse. I don't know if we'd be talking extend him for another 3.
Well, he's only got 9, 7 left or whatever. So.
Right, so lock him up for 10.
Yeah.
No, I mean, hey, listen, he gets 2 goals, gets an assist, factors in on all the goals, was a big part of the offense, plays over 20 minutes and had a solid night. So is it just me or do you guys, I don't want to call it an emergence of Brett Kulak.
I was just going to ask you guys resurgence, about Kulak.
Yeah, resurgence of that.
Is it a realization?
I agree with that, Tom. Because
where he's steady Nurse out, hasn't he?
This is him. He's good, steady.
But I think the coaching staff is like, okay, we might have to play this guy a little bit more, and they're realizing, hey, this guy can play 20 to 22 minutes, and he's fine. Yeah, and playing on the right side, playing on the left side. So I think they've realized that, we've had this guy in our stable for 2 years, and playing him 15 to 18 a night, we can bump him up by 4 minutes, right?
Absolutely, and Cass, perhaps with his ascension, let's call it, or this realization of potential. When a guy, even like Brett Kulak, who's been around the league for about a decade and his late 20s, early 30s, like, is it that responsibility and trust from the coaching staff that has helped him build his game in 17 games this season? What do you think might be one of the factors to drive him to play that the way he has been for the majority of the season? I think he's had a couple of tough nights early on, especially, but since I think he's been just rock solid.
Yeah, he has been. But let's not forget that there have been times, particularly in the playoffs, where he's been their best defenseman.
True.
Clearly their best defenseman.
Good point.
So he has capacity to do it. And we saw him do that even before he was in Edmonton, when he was with Montreal, where he was like their best defenseman in the playoffs during their almost cup run. So he's a guy that's seems to be a gamer in some ways. Like he finds ways to raise his level of play when it's really, really needed, and maybe had to work his way into that a little bit this year. But and maybe part of it is just even him seeing, there's nobody else. And just that, like, well, I guess it's got to be me. And again, like they're raising the pressure sometimes on some guys, just brings out the best in them. And maybe that's what we're seeing with Brett Kulak.
780-218-9999. Gazzola, Kassian, and Salas with you on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. Edmonton, 3-2 winners over Nashville, sweeping the season series. And Connor McDavid in the process picking up career point number 1,000 and 1,001. And, oh, by the way, Darnell Nurse getting 3 points on the night. And Jason texting and says, Nurse finally earning that cheddar. Excellent use of cheddar.
Quaddy always also put Nurse 4 Nations. I love the
Stop it.
I love the turn of Oiler fans from game to game.
Stop it.
The quick turnaround. Yeah, one game. The quick turnaround.
Totally redeemed himself. Let's go to Captain Steve here. Says, evening, gents. Solid win by the boys. Glad McDavid got his milestone on a goal at home. Would have liked Pickard to make a save on the second Preds goal, but at the end of the day, a win is a win. We've seen how this team reacts to success and praise in the past, so hopefully they don't lay an egg against the Leafs on Saturday night. C-Mac getting in here says, guys, I just had hernia surgery today, wondering if I'm high on meds. Or did Darnell Nurse score too? He's been having a really good season so far. Looks like he's having fun too. Judging by my grammar and spelling, it might be the pain meds. That's from C-Mac. Hope you're doing well on the surgery recovery, C-Mac, and that hernia is all taken care of. And no, Nurse totally did have a good game and is putting together a very respectable season thus far. He deserves some credit where credit is due, and he's been good. And it helps having Brett Kulak playing quite a bit with him 2. Mike in Thunder Bay texts in, says, congratulations to the greatest hockey player of all time. For as much as this team frustrates the hell out of me, I'm just so glad to be able to watch this greatness every game. We are lucky. And then Nash in Whitecourt says, you know what I loved about that game? They looked like they were having fun for once. I felt proud, I should say, just to be a fan tonight. Guys, what sticks out to you, Cass?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about the roller coaster of emotions and reactions that we see all the time from Oilers fans, and all the time. At the same time, we see great moments like McDavid getting that goal and just the jubilation in the crowd, and you could feel it. People were ready for it, people were excited for it, and just seeing their reaction is just great. I mean, you love to hear that, you love to see that, and it's one of the. I was saying to someone else today, like the beautiful things about sports is you had so many different people that walked into that building tonight from so many different walks of life and different beliefs and ideas and thoughts and all kinds of things, and everyone was on board with that moment. And then everyone's on board with the moment in OT when they win too, and it was buzzing in OT from a crowd standpoint as well. So it's I mean, to me, it's cool to see milestones, big ones that you're not going to get to see that often. Was he the 99th player to do it?
99th player,
McDavid get 1,000 points,
fourth youngest, whatever, fourth fastest.
But just it's like that's only happened. It's happened less than 100 times in the history of the NHL that someone has hit that milestone. So it's just super cool, and seeing fans' reactions. I just love it. It's one of my favorite things about sports. Like
the great David Lee Roth once said, "Come together right now over me." I know it was the Beatles. Like I'm being totally full of it right now. It was not David Lee Roth.
Taco says, not going to lie, boys, seeing McDavid get a little emotional during the Principe interview was good to see. It's nice to see something real and not the boring, typical hockey player response. Yeah, I mean, still waiting for a post-game audio to come through here, guys. So I'll work on that as soon as it comes through from the Oilers.
Okay, that sounds good. Nanso, keep going on that. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. If you're listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Apple Music, of course, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player. And then if you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button, please, and thank you. There's a good group of people watching and an even bigger group of people listening, and we love you for it. So thank you. Cass, let's talk about this 3-game winning streak. It's the first one of the season for this group. They've had, I think, 3 or 4 other instances where they won 2 in a row, just couldn't get that third one. They have it now. They go on this trip to Eastern Canada. They play Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa. Talking with some of the staff around Rogers Place, they're like, hey, 2 for 3 is pretty good. I said, why not go 3 for 3? Is that unrealistic?
Yeah, well, hey, this is a team. Largely the core players are the same. That last year we saw go on a magnificent, spectacular, one of the best runs in the history of the NHL. So this is a group that has the capacity to do it. And yeah, I mean, why not 3 for 3? Why not beat Toronto and win 4 in a row? I mean, good teams, good playoff teams find ways to put together winning streaks. So it's good to see, great to get you don't want to be a team. And listen, if you go 2-1, the entirety of a season in the NHL, you win 2 games, you lose 1, you end up with a pretty good record. Like you're in a good spot. But for the most part, that's not mentally and from a rhythm standpoint, it's not how you want to be. It's not how you want to feel as a player and as a team. So it's good for them to get that mentally. I think now you just want to see them continue to take a step forward and see if they can string together 4, 5, 6 games, 7 games, which would be great.
Cass, having the McDavid 1,000 points out of the way before going into the circus that is Toronto, how much of a burden off the team's shoulders and McDavid specifically could that be? To just articulate it to fans of the Oilers who, we all see Toronto from a distance, but when you're actually there, you've been there, I've been there, you're around that building on a Saturday night, it's a different level.
It's nuts. Not even Saturday night. Saturday during the day around the rink, in front of the hotel and outside the rink. It's nuts. Yes. That's one of the rinks where I would just bury my head behind Jason Spezza or Erik Karlsson, because I knew then I could just kind of slide through the crowd of people that would be outside. No, it's nuts. And I think more than that though, Tom, I think the big thing, because you could kind of see it with the team. And they had lots of opportunities. McDavid almost got that one early, couldn't quite jam it home. But you could kind of see where there was almost some tension with that. Like in the team, like trying to get it, wanting it to happen, anticipating it to happen. And then when it happens, you just have the ability to loosen up a little bit. And I think, the longer something like that goes, if it went beyond tonight, which clearly it didn't, but if it were to go beyond tonight, that's when that starts to build, because then it's not just the Toronto media hype, it's just the internal the internal anticipation and desire to see him get that, because you're excited for your teammate and you want to see him do it. That I think it's not going to mentally break you, but it's just like another thing you have to think about and focus on, and you're worried about to a certain extent. So it really is it's good to get it out of the way, especially, and you didn't say this yet, but it's not just the Toronto media. It's not just, Toronto fans. It's also hometown for Connor McDavid, for that player, where it's like, you even more than tonight, at home in Edmonton, feel an obligation as a teammate to where, like, we have to get this guy this point tonight. We have to do it. And so just to get it done, I think is good, bodes well for the team. You can have the emotions with it for Connor McDavid and for his teammates tonight. You got the win in overtime. Lots of smiles and excitement and laughter in getting the win. And now you can move on and move forward to where that's not going to be the focus. It still may be for some of the media members in Toronto, but it's not going to be the focus from a dressing room standpoint, which I think is important.
Davin from Green Plan was texting me. He was talking about some nasty Behan sauce from 97 to 25, and then said, "Okay, Tom, please, no more negatives. We got those out of our system right off the hop, Davin. Thank you for that. Good to hear from you as well. All right, Cass, you talked about this trip that's coming up. You talked about Toronto. Now the focus for this team as they pursue a fourth straight victory. What are elements of this game and of this current stretch that they're on that they're going to look to build upon? And what are things that might not be so positive and negatives that Davin alluded to that they want to nip in the bud?
Yeah, well, I think positives, big positive, you won. Big positive, you got 3 in a row. You want to keep it going. Other big positive is you haven't got scored on the penalty kill in 2 games. Now, there hasn't been there, it hasn't been a ton of penalties, and I think it was just 2 a game, but you still found ways in games to get those kills, which is huge. So I think that's a huge positive to build on. Things that you still want to see improve. I thought the power play was threatening at times tonight, but you're still kind of up and down, it feels like, on the power play, where they haven't consistently been able to operate at the level that they would like to operate at, and we want to see them at. So looking forward, heading in the Eastern swing, like you'd like to see that. So improvement on the power play, continue to be threatening, start to actually put pucks in the net, bury your chances. That's something that we could look at to say, hey, when those chances are there, guys still have to find ways to put the puck in the net, because you've had too many grade A's where you either haven't shot or you've just missed. That would be another thing where, like, hey, to keep this train rolling, that's what we need to see happen.
Kassian, Hernan, I just want one more to throw at you guys. What'd you guys think of Jeff Skinner tonight?
He had some good looks. I think Cass brought it up when he jumped on here. He missed one that he probably wants back, but I thought he was around it a bit. The penalty, it almost looks like he swapped the stick. They didn't really show a good replay. You just saw the Nashville.
I thought that was a soft call.
Go flying, but I mean, it's a tough look for him, for a guy who's not playing a lot in the last 2 games. But I thought he was better in the last 2 games for sure, Tom. He was around it, and he had a couple good looks.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good tonight. It needs to find a way to score on that backhand, where, again, he just misses wide open net, and backhands can be tricky. I get that. He scored way more goals than I ever did. Scored more goals in a year, like 10 times over than what I scored almost. So, I have some sympathy for it, but at the same time, his job is to score goals in a lot of situations. So needs to bear down there. But I thought he was around it tonight. Had some opportunities, had that open net, and I thought was generally pretty engaged. And I wonder if part of that was the 11-7, where he got some shifts with some of the top guys that I think helped.
I think they were rotating Draisaitl and Henrique with him, and Ryan, from what I recall. Maybe he got a little dose of McDavid. He only played 10 minutes tonight, but those minutes, it looked like he was trying to create whatever he could with the opportunity. All right, boys. Really quickly, I'll add this. Doesn't sound like the injury to Arvidsson is anything serious. They're anticipating him probably being back by Saturday. And the other thing, too, Cass, you pointed this out. Them not calling up a guy like Savoy, like you had hinted at, wanting to see, did have to do with cap ramifications and accruing it. Yeah, so nailed it on the head. Financial guys. You guys understand caps and money.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, you do it very well. Cass, fantastic work as always, my friend. People are saying that's the lucky cardigan, so I'm assuming we will be seeing it again soon.
Saturday,
Probably.
Please.
Probably.
Saturday. Especially Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we're at Boston Pizza Westgate on Saturday, by the way, Cass, if you want to come out. It would be great to see you there. If not, it's all good.
Always is. Yeah, always is good.
Yeah, I know. Cass, great work tonight, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.
That is our game analyst, the fantastic Matt Kassian, helping us break down Edmonton's 3-2 overtime win over the Nashville Predators. Gazzola and Salas with you. Salas, are you waving at me, or did you want to say something?
I was saying bye to Cass.
Or are you saying bye to Cass?
I also want to say Dusty Strong, hashtag Dusty Strong. He'll be back
I love
soon.
it.
A lot of people are asking about him. Dusty's fine, okay?
I think he's in
back.
Vancouver already for Grey Cup.
Yeah, that looks like a riot, Tom. Can I just add something that's non-hockey related real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Congratulations to Edmonton Elks linebacker Nick Anderson for winning Most Outstanding Rookie today at the CFL Awards. Well deserved. He's the 5th Edmonton Elk player to win Rookie of the Year, so good on him. First one since Dexter McCoyle, 2015.
Hey, Dexter McCoyle went on to have a really good CFL and NFL career. Played for San Diego. And I don't know if he went to LA with the Chargers, but I know he ended up bouncing around the NFL after his time with the Chargers, came back, played a little bit with the Elks, and called it a career. And that, those careers don't last very long. So well done, Nick Anderson, and great reference to Dexter McCoyle, who won a Grey Cup with Edmonton in 2015. Nick Anderson and Niles Morgan, a terrifying duo. In the midfield for the Elks. And I thought they got way better when Derek Moncrief joined the team.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Tommy, I just Cass was talking about the power play. You know what I liked about the power play today, even though they went 0 for 4? They weren't momentum killers. Like, they created some good chances. It wasn't just complete duds. I also like that they got a power play right after McDavid and them had a long shift, or were just finishing up one power play. I thought he was going to go right back to them, and I know Louis brought it up. He goes, is he going to go to the second unit? I'm glad he did. Yes. I'm glad he did. Like, finally, give him a look. The other guys are tired. Yes, they're elite, but they need some rest too. So I thought the power play was handled well, but I also thought it was good because it didn't kill their momentum throughout the game. No, and listen, you're right that power play is elite, but so far this season, it certainly is not. The Oilers' power play. Let's see if they have it updated after tonight. No, they didn't. It was rolling in at 17.5%. That was good for 22nd coming into action tonight. 1 of 10 games in the National Hockey League. All right, we got more text to get to. We will go inside the Oilers locker room shortly, and we do need to get to the player of the game. Let's get to text and player of the game, and then we'll get to some audio here from the locker room. Reid Wilkins is going to stop by as well in a little bit. Here, I'll get to Shaggy in St. Albert. Shaggy says, another game where they allow their inferior opponent to stick around by not finishing their chances. Shaggy, I'm with you on that one. You know that. Making another goalie look like an all-star again. Pickard was solid again, but compared to Wedgwood, he looks meh. Power play, 0 for 4. Woof. PK, above 60%. Of course, they blow the lead again. This team does not want to give more effort than they have to. Yeah, Oilers goalie with a 900-plus save percentage game, which seems rare for this team. 2 points are the important part, along with McDavid 1,000, but this team's still not running like they should be. Shaggy, you're right. They're not, but there's incremental growth, still some frustration, 100%. Thanks for the text. Let's go to Stanley in YYC. Stanley says, Oilers continue to make things difficult on themselves, but they squeak out a victory again. Gratz, 97 on 1,000. Big 2 goals from 25. Concerned about defending leads. Rightly so. They talked again in the broadcast about the bench yelling a player behind, but nobody seems to get back and cover. Yes, I heard Jack and Louie talking about that. That is
concerning and part of growing pains with one Ty Emberson, then whoever was covering for him, a little slow getting back there. Dirty Curdy says, great finish, amazing achievement for McDavid. Called him McGrand, and Nurse totally redeems themselves. Power play needs to stop trying to pass it in the net, and they got to figure out a way how to close out these 1-goal games in the third. One thing that the Oilers were really good at last year was tight games. And although they're getting the better of their opponents this year, doesn't really have the same amount of confidence as they seem to have last year when it came to these 1-goal games.
It's a good point, Tom. And, we asked Cass, he didn't really know either, because I don't think, he made a good point. I don't think it's nerves. This team's been there, done that so many times, Tom. I mean, outside of Emberson, every guy should be calm. These guys just played 4 rounds in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Every game was just, tight and went down to the final minutes. So, for me, it's just one of those things that hopefully they can work their way out of, because it's been 3 games at home where they've kind of blown it in the last 5 minutes. So we'll see if the road helps that. It might, because you play a little bit looser on the road, Tom, and you're feeling good about yourselves as well. But just looking at that goal, it was a little unfortunate. If you take a screenshot of where Cole Smith gets the pass, it's not a good look for the Edmonton Oilers. I'm sure Chris Knobloch's not going to be happy with that one. But nonetheless, Pickard again. I think he was just good. I don't think he did anything spectacular. He was adventurous. He almost gave 2 away, Tom. We haven't touched on that yet.
Yes.
Very lucky on both plays. But Pickard's giving this team exactly what a really good backup does. He gives them wins. He gives them a solid goaltending where the team trusts him. And I know a lot of people are, and maybe they're just messing around and stuff. But listen, it's going to be him and Skinner throughout the season. Skinner's going to play a lot more.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was you or someone posted Skinner working extra today, which is good to see. He's not satisfied with his game, which is good, and he's looking at things to improve on, and he's staying later in practice when everybody leaves. That's a good sign, especially for a young goaltender, because, Tom, a young goaltender that went to the Stanley Cup final can be like, hey, I'm good, man. It'll come around. Do you know what I mean? But at least he's putting in the time and the work, and I'm not going to dare say his name because I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but it's good to see.
I agree. All right. Reid Wilkins will be joining us in a little bit. He said it took a little bit longer in the locker room. I'm sure that had to do with McDavid 1000. We'll get to more of your texts. I see the nasty chat going nicely. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. And nasty chat, of course, buzzing on a big night in Oil Country. McDavid, Hernan Salas, becoming the first Oilers player since Mark Messier to hit the 1,000-point mark in orange and blue. Messier did it January 13th, 1991. In Philadelphia on Glenn Anderson's 400th career goal.
That's amazing.
I tried texting Sparky Kolchiski to see what he did with the puck, or if he even remembered. Sparky, who usually responds, I'm assuming fell asleep.
But it's great. And then you saw the embrace on the bench between the 2 superstars of the Edmonton Oilers. As a fan of sports, you love seeing that and a great call by Jack. It was just perfect, a 2-on-1. You knew Draisaitl wasn't shooting no matter what.
No.
McDavid's dad in the stands. I don't know who he was with. Some people are saying that was his agent that was with McDavid.
Yeah, I think so. It was Adam and Judd. I think their names.
Yeah, and then I know in the intermission they interviewed him, and his mom was back home. She just had surgery on her foot, so she couldn't travel, but she was with the family, and they were celebrating as well with a nice picture sent in to Gene Principe.
They will have a lovely meal tomorrow and a bit of a celebration, and then McDavid will get a full night's rest and be ready to play the Toronto Maple Leafs Saturday evening. Again, we're at Boston Pizza Westgate for that one. That's on 170th Street. 90th Ave. I was talking to Curtis, who's owner GM over there. Tony's absolutely tremendous over there. The great staff. They've got a golf simulator, $20 an hour. That's a tremendous rate. And then the other thing, Hernan, as you know, they have excellent giveaways at BP Westgate. And when I was talking to Curtis, he said that they had speakers. They also had a cooler, hoodies, and more. They have T-shirts, hats, all kinds of great goodies that they give away on Oilers game days when we are down there for the pre and post game show. So come and join us. Also, it's my dad Reno's birthday, and he's got a big table and crew coming down. So it should be a lot of fun on Saturday for that game. And then I get a home game on the 23rd at Kelly's Pub on 104th Street and 102nd Ave. It is downtown Winterval Festival, and we will be there for the pre and post game show at Kelly's Pub. All those jokes you guys crack about me on all the other shows on our station, I don't care. It's all worth it. It's happening. I'm doing the pre and post game show from there. And thank you to Quinn Phillips, our commissioner, for setting that up. And then on the 21st, I should add, we are back at Hudson's White Avenue. I was talking to Connor from Hudson's White, and he says they're pumped and excited to have us back on location. We're all over the place. Lieutenant Eric was at Century Casino tonight. He had brisket nachos. They looked fantastic.
They did.
He saw a really weird Oilers jersey that had like a DJ on the back instead of a number. So the adventures never end.
That's
all season long here on EST. All right. Let's get to some more texts. Keep those coming in. 780-218-9999. Troll says, I like Podkolzin, but the top six experiment needs to end. Guy has no hands. Draisaitl must really like playing with him because the blender was out before he got on that line. Maybe he's just spot filling until Kane gets back. I had this conversation with some other scouts from other teams in the league tonight in the press box, and I was like, I agree with Troll. I was like, I don't think Podkolzin is a long-term solution there. I would get him off of there if I was a coach. I'm clearly not in the National Hockey League. That's a good thing. But I understand that Leon likes him because of his puck retrievals and because Podkolzin defers to Leon whenever he does get the puck. He's a bigger body Yamamoto. I saw that reference, and that's true. But, man, you've got 3 assists, no goals, and you get some glorious opportunities. At some point, you got to bury that. So I'm with Troll. I think that this Podkolzin experiment could end tomorrow, and I'd be like, yep, that's probably a good decision. Let us know what you think. Nanso, what would you say?
You know what? I was thinking of that during the game because I do like Podkolzin's effort, Tom. I do. I think it's there. I think you're right. He gets pucks back to Leon. He defers to Leon. But at the end of the day, when you're the coach, you need production in a team that, they've moved up in goals for sure, but they need more. And it's a perfect case tonight. Like, they needed more than they had to go to overtime, but they had a ton of shots. They had some good looks that they missed or shot right at Scott Wedgwood. So for me, I prefer Podkolzin in the bottom 6. You need a guy that's going to finish, and there's not a lot of guys finishing. I understand that, but once Victor Arvidsson's back, and I think Reid, and we'll ask Reid, but I think Reid said it or Gager said it, just put Skinner back with Draisaitl and Arvidsson. That's why you brought them in. You haven't given them a long look. You've given them a decent look, but not a long enough look to see what you have, because those guys have proven it, and they can score in the NHL where Podkolzin can't, and that's why he fell out of favor. So this is not a knock on Podkolzin. We're just being realistic. He doesn't have the finish. He's not a goal scorer.
I think he's a good fourth liner.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Moonlight in the third if need be.
Sure.
Yeah.
But not a top 6 guy, not with one of the most elite players in the National Hockey League. Just what we thought. Avro Arrow says, make Nurse a winger.
Jeez, come on.
Thank you, Avro Arrow. Taco says, I'm not going to lie. Seeing McDavid get a little emotional during the Principe interview was good to see. Nice to see. Oh, okay. You got to that one already. This one comes in and says, I've never seen McDavid that emotional talking about himself in the post-game interviews, really appreciating the fans and making sure he loves it here. Great to see. A nice moment. I'm glad that text comes in. It reminds me of the nice moment where they showed McDavid on the scoreboard in that moment after he picked up point number 1,000. And as he waved to the crowd, it was just kind of like a little kid wave too. Yeah. Because all the guys were patting him on the head. And the crowd got even louder for him. So a good moment of mutual admiration there. I like that. So thank you for that text and the reminder. The Reverend says, hey guys, why do you think Nashville is having so many problems? The Reverend. We had Chris Mason on, right? Chris Mason was talking about them just kind of being disjointed. They're already talking about rebuild. when we thought that they were selling parts off, that's how the Oilers ended up with Ekholm. It's not working. What else, Anso?
That's interesting to me because I think Barry Trotz has said it, like, I'm going to find out real soon here what we're going to do with this team. Mm-hmm. But he did sign some long-term contracts too. But yeah, I mean, what
did Mason say? Like 10 more days or something like that?
Yeah, I think he's going to give him a
week to 10 days.
A week to 10 days and go from there.
I want to add this, and I had a conversation with the same scout and actually a couple scouts that I was talking with tonight from other teams. I asked about Dante Fabro.
Yeah.
Pretty much confirmed Edmonton didn't put a claim in for him, but it sounds like there was like 2 or 3 teams that might have. And then I said, what's the deal on this guy? And I got too soft. Intensity isn't there. Things they like, his ability to kill penalties, willingness to at times get in front of pucks. But he just same thing we were kind of talking about in the last week.
It's I don't want, well, I'm going to just say it, soft maybe. Is that a fair assessment?
That's a word that keeps coming up when he's being described.
Tommy, we do have, so far the only interview we have is Leon Draisaitl. Would you like to go to that?
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Okay, here's Leon Draisaitl following his team's 3-2 win over the Nashville Predators.
This picture too. So, little. Yeah, I'm not going to share that information. But it's a couple of years ago.
So then you were the driving force behind making it?
I didn't make them myself, but I was the guy to send out the picture, and then Brad Harrison, our equipment manager, takes it from there, and he's good with stuff like that. So. Yeah, I mean, who does? You guys don't. So.
Any chance of you shooting that puck on the toe?
No, of course not. I mean, he could have had 3 guys all over him. I would have still try and get it to him. I think that's every guy on our team would have done the same thing, and he deserves that. And that just shows you how much we love him and how much we appreciate everything he does for our organization. And it's a great night.
Leon, it was kind of fitting, the 3 of you, Darnell, to you, to him, on the first goal for 1,000, and then team up again in overtime for the win.
Yeah, it is pretty fitting, actually. If there's a third assist, you'd like to get Nuge in there as well somewhere, but Nuggy was great tonight. But yeah, it's certainly fitting. All 3 of us kind of came in at the same time, year after year, 3 years in a row, and known each other for a long time, become lifelong friends off the ice, and it's a good story.
Coming off of that, Leon, how special was the embrace after all of the celebrations between you, Connor, and Darnell there?
Yeah, it's a special moment. I mean, this is, again, I said it the other day, but this is legendary stuff, right? So to witness that, to be a part of it, and to have seen him grow up from when he was 18, when we first met him, it's pretty cool, pretty amazing to be a part of.
A big deal that this happened in a win, that you guys pulled this out.
Yeah, I mean, we needed to win this game. Obviously, we would have liked to, tighten that last play up a little bit, but, good ending for us.
So here's the opposite of keeping it humble. Do you think he has another 1,000 in him?
If not him, who else? That's the only question. I never bet against Connor McDavid. I've learned that over the last 10 years, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, just to confirm, you picked up the puck?
I think Eki gave it to me, and I wasn't sure what to do with it. It wasn't me, so he just handed it over to him.
There you go. There's Leon Draisaitl talking about Connor McDavid and the win, and the Oilers certainly a very happy group. Draisaitl wearing a funny McDavid T-shirt, team issued. Wouldn't be expecting to see that in the Oilers store anytime soon. All right, 780-218-9999. Text us. Let's get to the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game before we bring in Reid Wilkins. Damon Bunting, who I saw tonight, tells me he's off to Mexico next week. Lucky guy. He's also a consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Western Canadian Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find the right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com. Or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Hernan, Salas, take it away.
Yeah, the easiest player of the game ever in the history so far of the Edmonton Oilers. Listen, Darnell Nurse gets a lot of credit. He had an excellent game. Same with Leon Draisaitl. But you got to go with the man of the hour, Connor McDavid. 1 goal, 1 assist for his 1,000th point. Sorry, 4th fastest in NHL history to do it. Just a great feat. Like Tommy said, first Edmonton Oiler to hit that since the Moose. 24:57 time on ice, 8 shots on net, 3 hits. El Capitan Connor McDavid gets the Damon Bunty Player of the Game.
Yep, nicely done, Hernan. All right, let's bring in this guy, fresh off of work in the locker room. Reid Wilkins, host of the Reid Wilkins Show here on Edmonton Sports Talk, along with Jay Milne. Reid's back at his home studio, and we'll get him on here. There he is. Hello, Reid Rick. How are you, sir?
Me.
A pleasure as always. Okay, you saw McDavid get the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game. You witnessed him achieve his 1,000th point. You were in the room, working the room in the scrums. What do you take away from a night like tonight?
Well, I thought it was just a fantastic moment for McDavid and Draisaitl and Nurse, and for the Oilers, and for the 18,000 plus Oilers fans that were in the building, and for Oil Country all around the world. I really thought it was just a special, memorable moment. I'm glad he did it at home. I know, the 99% of the fans or more don't go to the games. They're watching on TV or listening or whatever, but I still think it was just more special for it to be at home and to see the crowd reaction. That was one of the biggest roars I've ever heard from the crowd on a goal. And it was kind of neat that there was, a 2 or 3 second buildup as they went in for a 2-on-1, and everybody's aware of Draisaitl has the puck and McDavid's the option to pass to. It wasn't a second assist where fans had to stop and think, wait a minute, did he touch the puck 7 seconds ago before the other 2 guys cashed in? I really thought it was incredible, and one of the more memorable things that I've been lucky enough to witness covering the team. I just thought it was really cool. Everybody coming off the bench was great. The ovation for, once they celebrated and he was shown on the scoreboard again, and some of the MVP chants and the cheer for the announcement. I heard you guys, when I was driving, talking about his modest wave.
Yeah, like a little kid.
When he was put on the board.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a very cool, very special, very memorable moment, and just another milestone in what's been an incredible career. I know we've been talking about him a lot the last couple of days, and guys, I really feel, and I've said this before over the last couple of years, everything that was put on McDavid when he came to this team, I mean, just a lousy franchise and everything he was hoped could accomplish, he has exceeded expectations.
Yes.
I know he hasn't won the cup. People are going to chime in. Fair enough.
They already have.
In terms of individually, what he's been able to accomplish, he has surpassed really what he would have been expected to do. I think so. It's a pretty incredible story. I think Oilers fans should be enjoying it and enjoying the ride of watching him play.
How many games to 2,000, Reid? Oh, I wouldn't put that.
Well, seriously, can
702. He'll need another 702 games.
Nice, I love it.
All right, Connor McDavid, point number 1,000, first Oiler player to do it since Mark Messier in January of 1991. So almost 34 years ago. He did it on Glenn Anderson's 400th career goal, too, by the way. And I think that was probably a special moment. The win tonight, Reid, and the method in which the Oilers managed to get it.
Yeah.
Concerning, not concerning, blowing the lead, not scoring enough. How did you view it?
I think from a game perspective, I have to express a little bit of, I don't know, frustration that game wasn't won in regulation time, especially given what happened last game. Was not the Carolina game a 2-0 lead that then they lost in overtime on home ice, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
And I had it to Knobloch because a lot of the questions were about McDavid today, but he said that it was unacceptable to allow that goal with 3 or to whatever time
2.5 minutes. I think it was. Yeah,
to give up that chance was unacceptable. And I mean, that's basically, I would think that's Nashville's 12th forward if you number them 1 through 12. That then winds up finishing that play. I mean, it'd be one thing if Philip Forsberg had a great moment and beat a couple guys and scored. To give a lower end forward that type of a chance. I mean, that line on the ice shouldn't be anywhere near the Oilers' net in that situation. So that is frustrating. It's frustrating for both things. Again, they don't score enough for the chances that they generate.
Yep.
They're looking like a very top-heavy offensive team, which we saw in the early Tippett years. And then they can't quiet the game down in the last 10 minutes and not give up chances against. And I know the team that's behind is pushing and taking chances, but you got to survive that. And you got to make them come through all 5 of you if they're going to get a goal.
Yep.
You can't give, a breakaway or a partial breakaway, however you want to put it. So that was a little frustrating. But I'm still glad they get the points because the stuff I was just talking about can still be worked on. It wasn't game 5 of a playoff series, but still, there's been some, there's been a couple games here that should have been coasting to the finish line in the last 8 minutes, and instead they've gone to overtime. So that's kind of a bummer.
And Reid, it was 2 fourth-line goals against, and the first one was on the McDavid line,
yes,
right? So
good point.
I think the second one was too because Nuge was out there, but that can't happen. And we broke down the goal with Cass, and let's just look at the still shot when Cole Smith gets the puck. There's no one around him. There's 2 Oilers at center ice, and Eberson's caught at the blue line, right? So I agree. I think it's, even though the Oilers won and it was a wonderful night for Connor McDavid and all Edmonton Oilers fans, it's still frustrating that they're giving up these late leads.
Yeah. Well, what are we at now? 9 wins and 4 of them have been in overtime?
Yep.
Now, again, maybe their next 20 wins are all going to be in regulation, and it'll even out. But yeah, they're relying a lot on the big guys, and that is a little bit of a concern. I heard you guys talk about Pud Coles, and I've been saying that for a couple of weeks that I don't see him as a top 6 player. I thought Jeff Skinner had a better game in the offensive zone. Obviously, Arvidsson didn't play, and the third line had a couple of better shifts. But there's got to be some finish here, right? Like it can't just be okay. We can get some zone time, but we need Leon and Connor and Bush to do all the scoring. But again, there's time to work on it, and now hopefully some breathing room. It's going to be a hype game in Toronto. There's been a couple of wild games in that building. Didn't they lose a game 6-4 or 6-5 a couple of years ago?
They got dummied last year.
What was last year 4? What was it?
It was just
1 or 4-0.
They just got absolutely destroyed from the outset. It was just a non.
Yeah, I kind of don't remember that one.
It was a Hudson's night for EST.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. And
what was the game? It wasn't it 2 seasons ago when McLeod gave it away right in front of the net and Marner triple deked Skinner?
Yes.
I don't think that was last year. I think that was 2 years ago. Yeah, last year's game I don't even remember, but obviously
I remember it was a Hudson's night.
Okay.
It was over before it started. That's how bad it was.
It was one of those. Okay. For some reason I don't really remember it. But yeah, I mean, you got to now try to get 2 out of 3 on this road trip and keep building and keep banking points and get some separation from the Nashvilles and San Jose's and Anaheims of the world.
Yeah, well, they caught Calgary tonight. I know they're both at 19 points through 17 games, but the Oilers with more wins than the Flames. I just had it here. I do have it.
And Canucks lost to the Islanders tonight too.
Yeah,
I heard the Canucks had 5 shots in the first 2 periods, or had 5 shots on goal until late in the second period.
Winnipeg also lost tonight to Tampa 4-1. So
made up ground on the Jets for the number 1 seed in the West.
Just a few more games to go.
There you go. Story. That's how you got to look at it. Reid, this upcoming 3-game road trip through those Eastern Canadian cities, Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa. How do you look at this upcoming trip, and what do you expect from the Oilers?
That's a good question, guys, because I'm still not totally sure what to expect from them. I think against Montreal, they'll probably have 40 to 45 shots on goal. And it's just a matter of how many they score.
Yeah.
But again, the Toronto game, I don't know what to expect because it's so like it's just you can feel the tension all list everywhere with Oilers fans. I mean, a loss to Toronto feels like 10 losses. There's just so much hatred. I'm sure their fans hate the Oilers. So those games. So I just kind of what I said last game. I just want the Oilers to keep building, but play a complete game. Don't give away freebie goals. Like be resilient the entire game. They almost did it tonight, to be fair. They almost did it tonight against a team that, guys, as you know, I thought Nashville was going to be very, very good. They are a shockingly bad hockey team. Like they give them credit, they tied it, but for the first 50 minutes of the game, except for maybe a small portion of the second period, like they had nothing. They couldn't touch the puck. But still, regardless of your competition, go out there and be resilient and solid, get in the way defensively, and do all those types of things. I just want to see that for 8 games straight, and then you can start to say, okay, they're building a bit of a resume here.
Do you like this 3-game winning streak? Or do you think it's punched with holes and there's flaws in it?
No. I'll still always take the wins. And look, 3-on-3 overtime is still part of the game. So the Oilers are going to have an advantage against almost every team in 3-on-3. Maybe except the Avalanche is the one team because of Makar, can skate faster than Bouchard if you compare the defensemen. But so that is still part of the game. So once you're in 3-on-3, you still have to go and win it. So I still give them credit for doing that. So no, I'll still take banking points despite, again, my criticism of not being able to finish them off in regulation.
Well, you are a positive guy, and I look forward to seeing you being very chipper inside the studios and office tomorrow, okay?
It's going to be great. I saw in the nasty chat, I am not in a bathroom. Somebody said, is that a shower behind Reid? No, it's just a doorway to a hallway. I thought last week it looked like I had a shower curtain in front of me, that it was maybe a little grainy. And this guy over my right shoulder, that is Googly, my first childhood doll, who now lives on that shelf. And
watching
I never play
over
with
you
anymore, but he's watching over me. Yes.
Very nice. Hey, Rick, fantastic. Thank you as always for hopping on. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Great work as always, my friend.
Okay, see you guys.
Okay, bye. There's Reid Wilkins, host of the Reid Wilkins Show from 3 to 6, Monday to Friday with Jay Milne right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Got a couple more minutes here. Nat, so anything you want to hit on, or do you want to get to some texts? Or
do you want to get?
We've got to hear from McDavid.
Yeah, we got Connor ready to roll. Okay.
All right, let's hear from Mr. 1001, Connor McDavid.
Picture on everyone's shirt where that came from.
I don't know. You gotta ask Leo about that. I don't know. That was whatever. Yeah.
You didn't get one, like.
No.
That'd be funny wearing your own shirt.
Yeah.
Take us through, Connor. Just the moment after you score that goal, did you have a time to reflect a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, just seeing the way the players react, and that means the world to me. It means everything to me. To see my teammates happy and to hear the fans, that stuff means more to me than any of the numbers or anything like that. So it was just a really special moment, honestly. And these milestones, I said it, the other day, are a great time to reflect and great time to look back. And it's been a good 10 years, and hopefully 10 more good ones.
Even more special the fact that it's Leo and Darnell on your 1,000 and then in overtime.
Yeah. It's funny how it works out like that. I remember my 100th point in the COVID year or whatever when, both of them assisted on that as well, or both of them were in on it as well. So it's kind of funny how it works out that way sometimes. And it's pretty special that, it comes from Leo, and, obviously Darnell makes a great play on it too.
Everybody in the building knew he was passing down puck. I mean, just impressive he can still find you.
Well, I mean, he's an unbelievable player. He's makes that pass all the time, and nice to finally score a one-timer goal. I don't score many of those, so pretty funny he comes on a play like that.
You talked about Darnell and Leon there, and after the group celebration, you three just had a quick moment beside the big maybe just take us through that embrace and what that meant to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, it means everything. Your teammates, the guys you go to battle with, the guys that have been here forever, through the good times and the bad times. You build a brotherhood and you build a bond, and we certainly got that. And as I said, these moments are a great time to look back and appreciate the things and the people that mean a lot to you, and those two certainly are both.
As you get older, are you getting any better at actually looking back and smelling the roses?
Yeah, you know what? Like some of these things have kind of hit me a little bit more emotionally than I would have thought. You spend your whole life playing hockey and loving the game, and just wanted to play and make the NHL. And 1,000 points later, been doing it for 10 years now. It's pretty special. You take it for granted sometimes, and as I said, these moments give you a chance to look back and be grateful.
Connor, you had a few chances earlier in the game. Is that kind of a relief to actually see that one go in?
Yeah, I mean, it was only a matter of time, but I felt good tonight. Had lots of looks. My dad made the trip today, so it was never not going to be tonight. Had to make it happen, make his trip worthwhile. Otherwise, would have been a long flight home for him tomorrow. So wanted to make it worth his while, and happy he's here.
Good that this comes in a win, obviously, Connor.
Yeah.
But for the group here, like you're putting a bit of a streak here together, taking some command on home ice. Like, these things matter right now.
Yeah, and it's looking better. I thought tonight it looked really looked really good. We didn't give up too much. Don't love that we give up a breakaway with 3 minutes to go with a 1-goal lead, but things to clean up for sure, but a lot of positive signs. I thought tonight it looked really good all over.
Most of the games this year, especially at 5-on-5, you guys have kind of dominated in the shot for, shots against, and especially the last two games. It's a real big positive. How do you take those and maybe have the score match kind of the possession?
Well, I said this earlier in the year. Offense is about being clean with it, crisp, and I think we're still lacking some of that. Passes flat, passes on time, good decisions with it, and we're still lacking that a little bit, and that killer instinct a little bit. But still positive that we're finding ways to win games, and yeah.
Where's the puck on your mom on a night like this?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if she'll be up, but definitely call her tomorrow. But as I said, these you don't need to hear me say it again.
Where's the puck going? Like, is your dad taking the puck?
I don't know. Yeah.
If I can, Connor, Cam had a question for you. He pretty cool night for that young Scotiabank player that was next to you before the game. I don't know if you had a moment with him or a chance to say anything to him, but pretty neat for him to be there with you tonight.
Yeah, I always enjoy those. It's always great to see the kids out there. They're always excited. They always seem to wedge their way in there between Boosh and I, or Heisey and I. But of course, just say hi, and and that's all you can really do. I'm trying to get ready for the game as well. So, nice little moment there with him, and
a joyous, gleeful, reflective Connor McDavid picking up career point 1,000 and 1,001 tonight. Nice to see him bust out a couple of chuckles and reflect on some great memories, and talking about his very strong bond with Leon Draisaitl, Darnell Nurse, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Good stuff there from the captain on a very, very special night, talking about his family as well. You saw his dad, Brian, in the stands. Mom couldn't make it. She will see him tomorrow when he gets back to the Toronto area. Hernan, I want to read one text, and then I want to get some final thoughts, and we're going to say goodnight. It's been a very fun show. We've gone over an hour and 15 minutes now, so it's been a lot of fun. Great viewership, great listenership as always, and we thank you guys for that so very much. We're going to go into the inbox to Wheels himself. Atif says, good evening to the best Oilers post-game in the city.
Yeah.
Damn right. You're damn right, Atif. Two questions. First, congratulations to Connor McDavid on his 1,000th point of his career. Question one, why do the Oilers have to make things interesting and exciting? Can't they just blow out teams like they did with the Canucks on Saturday? Atif, I have the answer for that. They never make it easy, and it's why can't Oilers fans have nice things for once? It's just the way it is with them. It's in their DNA somehow. Number two, for question from Atif, if the Predators are out of a playoff spot come the trade deadline, is there any way the Oilers could consider looking at bringing in Steven Stamkos for the playoff run? Atif, I like where your head's at, and the answer is no.
Money.
Exactly. The answer is yeah. Some people in the press box tonight going, boy, not noticing Stamkos at all. That's concerning.
That's a good. I noticed 81. I didn't notice 91 tonight, Tom. I'll tell you that.
81 is Marchessault, and I noticed him more too. Yeah. All right, Nancito, final thoughts from you as we wind things down here.
Hey, wonderful night down at Rogers Place for everybody who was there. Whoever, all Oiler fans all over the world, like Reid Wilkins said, it was a wonderful night, beautiful night. Yes. Just another one of the great accomplishments by the Oilers captain Connor McDavid. And we said it in the pregame. You know, we get caught up in the details and the wins and losses and everything. But for tonight, enjoy the win and enjoy that you get Connor McDavid here, and you're probably going to get him for the rest of his career once he signs that extension, because it is something special that we are watching. And they're on a 3-game heater, and they're going into Toronto, Oilers, Leafs. There's nothing better than that on a Saturday night, Tommy. So congratulations once again to Connor McDavid. Great to see him smiling and his teammates smiling, and they're all wearing those shirts. So once again, congrats to Connor. Enjoy it, Oiler fans. Don't stress. We have enough of that during the rest of the season. So we'll see you Saturday.
I love it. We're on the air, 4 p.m. Oilers and Leafs, live on location. Boston, Pizza, Westgate. Join us, won't you? 170th Street, 90th Ave, across the street from West Edmonton Mall. X-Ray J going into the nasty chat. You get the last word. Says, thanks, Tom, Hernan, Cass, and the crew, and all the nasties. X-Ray J, we thank you and everybody else who watched and listened and texted in. You know we love you. You know we appreciate you. And with that, I say good night. For Hernan, Cass, Reid, and myself, enjoy the spoils of victory and McDavid 1,000. We're on to the next 1,000 in McDavid's career, and see if the Oilers can make it 4 straight wins when they take on the Leafs on Saturday. Take care, nasties. Have a great night.